Okay, in this lesson we're going to do a little bit more modifying on our martini glass project here. And the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to use the Lasso tool, or Lasso tool. It's like the Old West, it's a lasso. And what we're going to use it for in this case is, as far as this liquid that we're trying to represent, this space liquid, looks like the universe in a cup, I want to somehow symbolize that the cup isn't completely full to the brim as this looks. So I want a little bit of a wavy pattern, and I want it to be clear at the top. Well, a good tool to use for this you can use is the selection tool, the Lasso tool. And once you pick it from your toolbox, you see the little symbol of the lasso, just like in the Old West where they threw it around the cattle. And basically you left click, hold, and move your mouse around. And in this case I'm choosing a level on the liquid, and I'm kind of making it move around a little bit. So, and then we circle around, and we have to complete the circle, just like a lasso has to complete. Now it has selected this area of the object. And I want to make it clear. So I'm going to change my fill color for that selection, just that area, to white. Now you see what it did. We can see if that's adequate enough. Click outside the box. It's okay, but I'm thinking I could redo it, make it look a little better. So I'm going to undo, and I'm going to lasso again. So I just want to get a little better rolling looking rather than spiky look. And it really doesn't matter how perfect the outside area is. Alright, now let's try that fill color again. Well, being that we already have the fill color as white, we need to actually grab the paint bucket and click inside that area in order to demonstrate it. And now we'll click outside the area, and I think that looks pretty good. Especially zoomed out, it'll definitely look like it's a glass, you see, that's partially full of liquid. Alright, let's go back into 100%. Alright, so there's the Lasso tool, and using it as a selection device. Now what I want is I want to show you a hidden tool under the free transform tool. So the free transform tool is normally on top. We've used this before. But if we left click, we have the gradient transform tool. Now we've used gradients before, but in this case I want to show you how much flexibility you have with the gradient transform tool. So first of all, I'm going to select these circles or spheres I've created, and I'm going to use the Lasso tool also to select them. So it doesn't matter how accurate your lines are around the object, as long as we encircle the object. Now that object is selected, and now I'm going to go over to my color panel, and there we see that the fill is a solid black, which we had before. I want to change it to a radial gradient, and I think that the colors we have here, which were the similar colors as we used for the glass, are just fine. But if we wanted to make adjustments, we could. I might make adjustments on the other circle or object we created over here. But in this case, I think that looks fine. Now I'm going to go back to the selection tool, click outside the box, and now we have a unique, cool-looking design with our martini glass. But here's what's so cool about the gradient transform tool. So if it's not on top, left click and hold, and make sure that the gradient transform tool is selected, which the shortcut is F. And now if we click near a section that we have gradiented, if that's a word, gradiented, that we've applied a gradient to, like this area is one area, as well as this, now we are given a bunch of options here. We have an arrow that moves straight across. We have a diagonal arrow, we have circular motion arrows, and then we have our centerpiece with multiple arrows. So let me show you what each of these does. Well, first of all, the center one. We can move the center point of this radial gradient. See how that works? You're taking that same gradient but moving it around within the object. Okay? Or we can elongate not the object but the gradient itself. See how that works? Now it looks more like an eye. We also have this tool, which is very similar as the outward tool, except what this does is it simply enlarges the exact shape that we already have. So whereas this elongated the shape, this would simply make whatever shape we have of the gradient larger or smaller. But I prefer this here, and I think it looks good kind of small like that. Now this, you can already guess what it does. It can move the gradient to a different direction, like so. So once you have it how you want it, and I'm maybe even move it around some. Let's see here. Although in this case, I think that looks pretty good. So once we have it how we want it, we can click outside. And now let's change this one around over here. So let's grab our lasso tool. I know I keep calling it lasso. I mean lasso when it's really lasso, I bet. Alright, so I'm going to circle around. Now that one's selected, I'm going to go to the color swatches. And this time I think I'm going to make sure that the fill is what we've selected. And I am going to choose radial. But I'm going to choose a few different colors here rather than the ones we have. I'm going to make one of them a darker color, like black, like so. Yeah, see, that's a darker black. And maybe move some of these around a little bit till it's the area I want. Alright. Alright, let's say we do that one. Alright. Now I'm going to click outside the box with the selection tool. That looks interesting. Now I'm going to grab the gradient transform tool here. And now I'm going to move it around a little bit. And let's see. I just want to show you what you can do with it. Now if we click outside, you notice how it moved that gradient down to where it's almost like you're looking at a piece of a letter or something. And what might still look good in this case, I'm thinking, is if we reselect these circles, I'm thinking that the stroke might look good black, like so. Yeah, see, I think that looks pretty good. And now I'm going to change the other one to black also. Use the lasso tool to, whoops. And I'm going to change the stroke to black. There. I think that looks unique enough. And now for one more stroke, which I'm not going to actually use the stroke or border tool, but I was just using it as a figure of speech. Or one more element I thought would be good to add would be the brush here. Noticing how big it is, I'm going to change the color to a black. And I'm going to see how it would look to put 3 dots below like that, just to make it look a little more complete, to match our black area, our black strokes around the circles. So this looks like a glowing ring, whereas this looks like a piece of lettering that you're looking at, almost like a window you're looking through. All right, in any case, those were a couple ways to demonstrate to you, show you how to use the Lasso tool, both to select entire objects as well as portions of objects that we then filled in with a different color, as well as the very useful gradient transform tool that you can use for such things as we did with our spheres or circles here. So, enjoy.